Make summer more delicious with Whole Foods Market, where there's something for every adventure. Get ready for road trips with wallet-happy snacks, sparkling waters, and sports drinks from 365 by Whole Foods Market. Taking a staycation? Make it count with wild-caught fresh sockeye salmon, beef kebabs, and sirloin steaks for the grill, plus sweet and juicy summer fruit like sugar-kissed melons and organic cantaloupes. Don't forget fruit-filled pies for dessert. Summer your way with Whole Foods Market.
This episode is brought to you by Sol de Janeiro. At Sol de Janeiro, touch isn't just for screens. Physical connection is so essential to how we communicate. It's infused in everything we offer. Scents so irresistible, PDA is guaranteed. Textures are so luscious, skin is huggable. Get into a Sol de Janeiro state of mind. Receive 10% off on your first order on soldejaneiro.com, plus free shipping with the code SOLDEJaneiro10.
This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 2207. Rogerian, Person-Centered Counseling by Keith Wilson of keithwilsoncounseling.com. And I'm Dr. Neil Malik. Hello and welcome to another bonus Sunday episode. In each episode of this show, I usually read an article to you or answer your questions. But on Sundays, I share an extra episode from our podcast network. Today's post is coming from Optimal Relationships Daily. So with that, here's Greg with the post and his commentary as we optimize your life.
Rogerian Person-Centered Counseling by Keith Wilson of keithwilsoncounseling.com. A therapist who doesn't practice Rogerian Person-Centered Counseling is like a musician who doesn't practice scales. It is so basic and foundational that I wouldn't know what to do without it. But going to a therapist who only practices Rogerian Person-Centered Counseling is like listening to a musician practicing scales. It gets pretty tedious, and you wonder if it'll ever go anywhere. Carl Rogers, who incidentally developed his theory when he lived right here in Rochester, likened counseling to growing a plant. When you provide the right kind of soil, the right amount of sunlight, and the right amount of water, plants grow themselves. Rogers said that there are three things needed for growth of people: empathy, acceptance, and sincerity. Empathy. Think about it. When you're with someone who's willing and able to take your point of view, you start to take your own point of view more seriously. No, it's not just because you like to be around people who agree with you. You might be one of those who doesn't value your own point of view. You might not believe that what you feel and think is important. If that's the case, then it's easy to become alienated from your feelings and sloppy in your thinking. Therefore, if you want to help another person be the best they can be, look at things through their shoes. Show a little empathy. Rogerians are big on paraphrasing what has just been said so they can demonstrate empathic understanding. They like to identify feelings. They summarize the thoughts that the other has just expressed. When they do so, the client starts to hear what they're saying. So if it's nonsense, they can make it more lucid. And if it's wisdom, they can start listening to their own best advice. Acceptance. When you're with someone who accepts you without judgment, you become freer to talk about your thoughts, feelings, and actions. If you're trying to work things out, you need to be able to play with thoughts and ideas. Judgmentalism shuts down this process. When someone pronounces the thing you said as good or bad, you figure it's completed and you stop right there. It's important to realize that acceptance is not the same as approval. A real Rogerian counselor would not judge you positively any more than she would judge you negatively. She'll just be open to what you have to say. A positive judgment is still a judgment and will hamper you from feeling free to change your mind. Sincerity. You can tell when someone is acting fake. You just can't trust them. When someone is getting high and mighty, telling you what to do, acting like they're better than you, then you start paying more attention to what they're doing than what you came for. When you're with someone who is cloying and sentimental, then you wonder who they really are. You question whether you are dealing with a real human being. On the other hand, when you're with someone who is real, you can get real too. You can both take off the masks. A Rogerian counselor will strive to be authentic, transparent, and forthright. What you see is what you get. If you have questions for him, he'll answer them clear and honestly. He won't hide behind a degree or a role. Rogerian counselors will self-disclose. They will especially self-disclose whatever is going on in the session for them, what they think and feel about you in a non-judgmental way. But they won't do this so that they can be the center of attention. They'll do it so you don't have to think about them at all. I believe Carl Rogers was really onto something. Any counseling session or any other kind of human encounter that does not possess the characteristics of empathy, acceptance, and sincerity is not going to be growth-producing. Therefore, Rogerian person-centered counseling is always an essential ingredient. However, sometimes you need more. Whenever I meet with a client who has been to other therapists, I ask how effective they thought those therapy sessions were. The most common complaint I get is that the therapist just sat there, seldom said anything, and didn't make any suggestions. I think I know what happened. Those therapists think they are giving the client the maximum space to explore themselves without interference. They thought that they were practicing Rogerian person-centered therapy. Actually, they may not be. They may be falling short on sincerity. They may be so intent on being a Rogerian therapist that they forget to be themselves. But even if they are practicing authentic Rogerian person-centered therapy, there are limitations to that kind of approach. The approach essentially frees people up to heal themselves. Most people who come to counseling do not believe they can heal themselves. If they could, they wouldn't be paying a counselor to sit and watch them do it. They need help, and they are often so clouded and hampered by their misery that if they cannot be relieved of their symptoms quickly enough, they'll give up on the whole enterprise. That is why I'm not only a Rogerian person-centered therapist. I'll use other methods, more directive methods as well, so you can feel you're getting somewhere and gaining something from the experience. You just listened to the post titled Rogerian Person-Centered Counseling by Keith Wilson of keithwilsoncounseling.com.
Make summer more delicious with Whole Foods Market, where there's something for every adventure. Get ready for road trips with wallet-happy snacks, sparkling waters, and sports drinks from 365 by Whole Foods Market. Taking a staycation? Make it count with wild-caught fresh sockeye salmon, beef kebabs, and sirloin steaks for the grill, plus sweet and juicy summer fruit like sugar-kissed melons and organic cantaloupes. Don't forget fruit-filled pies for dessert. Summer your way with Whole Foods Market.
Planning a trip to one of the great national parks? LL Bean went to the experts at the National Park Foundation to get the inside scoop on which parks are the best to visit in each season. Whether you're looking for outstanding scenery, smaller crowds, or unique activities, LL Bean. Be an outsider. To check out the full list of recommendations, visit llbean.com/explore.
Now, I mentioned in the intro that this is a great post for understanding the inner workings of good therapy and what to seek should you be looking for professional help. But if the concepts Keith described sound familiar, it's because they are. It's because you possess all of these qualities too. That being said, this post is not only a great tool for identifying effective therapy, though everyone in therapy has different needs and may respond differently to different strategies, but it's also a reminder for how we can be kind to others as well as ourselves. We are regularly in positions to support friends, family, and even strangers sometimes. You may not be a therapist or a counselor or a life coach, but you can and should keep these ideas in mind when trying to help someone. How can you be accepting of what they have to say? Try to understand where they're coming from and encourage them to share more. How can you help them explore their own ideas for better or worse? While mental health professionals have this mastered, you too can use this process by listening fully to others and remembering that their unique story has given them all the proof they need to believe in what they believe in. And with that, I hope you are feeling ready to support others in a way that you would like to be supported. We have come to the end, so I am going to get out of your hair for today, folks. Thank you for being here and listening all the way through. If you like today's post, good news, I will be back tomorrow with more wonderful relationship content for you. I hope to see you there, where your optimal life awaits.